The theory of evolution, proposed by Charles Darwin and Alfred Russel Wallace in the mid-19th century, has been a subject of criticism since its conception. Critics argue that it goes against various philosophical, religious, and scientific principles. Here are some key reasons why the theory of evolution is criticized. 1. Religious objections. Many religions view the theory of evolution as conflicting with their creationist beliefs. For instance, in Christianity, Genesis states that God created humans in his image, which contradicts the idea of human beings evolving from lower life forms over millions of years. Similarly, Islamic and Jewish traditions also have creation stories that are at odds with Darwin's theory. 2. Moral implications. Some critics argue that if humans evolve through survival of the fittest, it justifies immoral behavior as a means to survive and reproduce. For example, British biologist Dr. Angela Steen McIntyre has expressed her disapproval of this aspect of Darwin's theory on both scientific and philosophical grounds. 3. Lack of transitional fossils. Critics argue that there is a lack of sufficient evidence in the form of transitional fossils to support the idea of macroevolution, which involves the transformation of one species into another over millions of years. They claim that many alleged examples of transitional fossils are not convincing enough or have been misinterpreted. 4. The second law of thermodynamics. Some critics argue that Darwin's theory contradicts the second law of thermodynamics, which states that natural systems tend to degenerate over time rather than evolve into more complex forms. They claim that this law suggests that life should become less diverse and specialized instead of more so, making it difficult for evolutionary processes to explain the complexity observed in living organisms today. 5. Punctuated equilibrium. Critics argue that Darwin's theory does not adequately account for the phenomenon of punctuated equilibrium, which is characterized by long periods of stasis, no change followed by rapid speciation events. They claim this challenges the gradualistic aspect of natural selection and raises questions about the validity of the theory in explaining observed patterns of evolution. 6. Irreducible complexity. Intelligent design proponents argue that certain biological systems, such as the eye or blood clotting mechanism, are too complex to have evolved through natural selection. They claim that these systems require multiple components working together for them to function effectively, and that the gradual accumulation of small mutations cannot adequately explain their existence. 7. Teleological argument. Critics argue that the apparent design or purposefulness observed in living organisms suggests an intelligent designer rather than a random, natural process like evolution by natural selection. They claim that this raises questions about the sufficiency of Darwin's theory to account for the complexity and order seen in nature. 8. Epigenetics. Some critics argue that epigenetic modifications, chemical changes to DNA, can be inherited across generations without involving genetic mutations, which challenges the traditional understanding of evolution through genetic variation and natural selection. They claim this undermines the central tenet of Darwin's theory and suggests alternative mechanisms for evolutionary change. 9. Lamarckism. Critics argue that certain aspects of Darwin's theory are reminiscent of Lamarckian inheritance, which posits that acquired characteristics can be inherited by offspring. This idea has been largely discredited in modern biology as there is little evidence to support it. 10. Alternative theories. Critics argue that alternative models such as intelligent design or creationism provide better explanations for the complexity and order observed in nature than Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection. They claim these alternatives offer a more comprehensive understanding of life's origins and development. In summary, critics argue that the theory of evolution contradicts religious beliefs, has moral implications, lacks sufficient evidence for macroevolution, challenges scientific principles such as the second law of thermodynamics, does not adequately account for punctuated equilibrium or irreducible complexity, and is subject to alternative explanations like intelligent design or creationism. These criticisms highlight the ongoing debate surrounding Darwin's theory and its role in explaining life's origins and development on Earth.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to never miss an update. Have a topic you want us to talk about? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning the world around you.